Hello everyone and welcome wherever you're watching around the country or indeed the world to Fourkéta Kourva in Greece. I believe that's how it's pronounced. That's how our Greek associate told us it was pronounced. But this is the first live stage from Greece out of 3. My name's Stairs. It is my absolute pleasure to welcome Madbird to the commentary box.
Thanks very much, Stairs. Here we are, stage 1 of the Greek stages. We have been here before in 80s cars, but this time we're here in Group B cars, both four-wheel drives and rear-wheel drives.
Very good. There's the entrance for you, and a few new names there. Bang Bangness and Berto racing under a new flag. I'm not fully aware what flag that actually is. Brenton Foley.
That is Greenland.
That is Greenland, with a red and white flag there. And Brenton Hobson, for those of you who follow his exploits on YouTube and Twitch, Hobbo88, for those playing at home. So a few strong people, a few more strong competitors in this live stage. Good to see.
Yeah, definitely. And we've got a couple of old people returning, as we said, Bang Bagnesson and Roadhog from Nepal with that annoying flag, have rejoined us.
Just had to be different, didn't they, in Nepal?
Absolutely. Bloody Nepalese. But I think we're about all ready to go here at Fourkéta Kourva. We've got Bang Bagnesson in his Lancia Delta S4, our first runner here on the stage.
Yes, it's an interesting looking car, that one, Bang Bang. Off on his way, and hasn't been one who's joined us in the Dirt Rally live stages terribly often, if at all. It's a great way of covering my bases.
He has joined us before. He was in the Germany stages in the Group A cars. He drove a Celica, but he has been a little bit not around. That's a terrible sentence.
Shall I rescue you?
Yes, please.
All right. Well, Bang, so far looking pretty good in this particular Lancia with the martini colours on it. It's something that's quite refreshing to see. The martini colours. No white, actually, which is probably, it's a bit different. Martini liveries, you normally see a lot of white. This one's got a fair bit more red, so that's a bit different.
Very different, and of course, as a Lancia Delta S4, it does have the issue of looking like the back end isn't finished. There's not really a boot or anything like that. Coming up to the sector split, we've got nothing to compare it to, but it is 2.2 kilometres into the stage. That much I can tell you, and he's done it in a 1:13.24. So first score on the board.
Yeah, looks like Lancia might have done their best work on Stratos, and to the detriment of literally every other car they made.
A lot of hairpins on this stage, about 5 or 6, I think. There's all these switchbacks as you're heading down the mountain. Lots and lots of cliffs here in Greece, which as he's getting mighty close but manages to hold on to it, is now shooting down towards the next hairpin. I quite enjoy this one around a dead tree. It's a bit of an allegory for my love life, but we move swiftly on.
We do move swiftly on from your dead love life. That isn't true at all. It's probably more mine than yours. But anyway, we've got Berto starting his stage. Coming from Greenland, not particularly au fait with the dirt lives, the dirty, I should say, gravel roads. That'd probably be a more apt way of describing it. But anyway, last round when we had the icy roads of Monaco, that was probably a little bit more to his liking. This might be something of an unknown for him.
Yeah, definitely. Although, as you say that, I do know plenty of the very dirty Greenland women. But as you say, he's probably not particularly familiar with, let's say, uncovered surface. It's usually all covered up in snow and ice up there. Bang. Very quickly as he's taken out. Oh my god, that hasn't looked like a clean end to the stage there for him. But regardless, he has finished it, which is definitely something to be much desired. 2:53.8 for Bang there.
And coming up to the 2.2 kilometre split, nice round number there for you for Berto. Let's see how he compares to the time set by Bang. 4 seconds to the... Can't read the orange text there. It's very, very tricky, but I believe it's Bang who's the slower of the two, so Berto going significantly quicker through the first sector split.
Yeah, very quick. He's a bit of an unknown quantity on dirt, is Birdo. We do have him in our regular races, and he did quite well in Season 7 with the Caterhams coming in and sort of blowing everyone away. I think he came 4th or 5th in the championship, but he's not shown much pace, or sorry, we haven't had much experience with his pace on dirt, so it's going to be interesting to see how fast he is in comparison to other people. Possibly him being so far down in the running order is a bit of a mistake.
Let's flick the windscreen wipers on. Don't know if that was accidental, as Brenton Foley, the young Irishman, starts his stage. Another Lancia there, and Brenton Foley is anyone who's familiar with the Caterham series that we were live streaming earlier on in the year will know that he likes to be a flamboyant driver. He certainly likes to kick the back end.
Yeah,
like a donkey.
Yeah, definitely, which will play into the car choice that he has, which is the Lancia 037 Evo 2, which is a rear-wheel drive beast, is probably a charitable way of saying it, so we'll get to see how he's doing in a moment. Birdo here quickly approaching the end of the stage, very clean there through those last couple of corners, and he sets a 2:43.1, which is a clear 10.6 seconds faster than Bang, so incredibly quick there from the Greenlandish man. Just hanging onto it there is Foley with some very hairy jumps there around those cliffs.
No major stacks from anyone so far, as Foley goes faster than Berto. Not quite sure. No, sorry, beg your pardon. We haven't seen the split yet. That's comparing Berto and Foley. Foley goes in slower than Bang, which is surprising. I guess it's his first live stage in a rally, so it's a bit of a learning experience for him, but we haven't seen any big errors from him so far, so he might just be taking it steady. That was very steady.
Incredibly steady, but he is the first runner to be in a rear-wheel drive car. The other two, the Lancia Delta S4 being a four-wheel drive car, so a little bit more handleable than this thing. He's managed to get around that hairpin just. It looked as if his back wheels were probably kissing the edge of the cliff there. But
he may have hamstrung himself just a wee bit there with the rear wheel choice.
Might have done. Of course, all the runners did have the choice of either four-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive, and he thought I spoke to him, but it got incredibly close. I spoke to him prior to the stage, and I suggested that he use the Audi Quattro, which we can see Resist there has begun his stage in, as a pretty good Group B car, and he reckoned he had much more pace in the Lancia 037. So, oh my God!
Big rocks! He's gone over the edge, and that is a big penalty to pay. Oh my goodness gracious me! Let's catch the replay there. Brenton Foley, don't cut. He cuts, and from then on he was very much a passenger, and that is a very costly error for Brenton Foley. Reset to the track, and that's going to be a 15-second penalty.
Yeah, for sure. He just clipped that inside where there was that rocky outcropping, and it flipped him up into the wall and then straight over the cliff. Not much room for error here in Greece, but I'm surprised we haven't seen any other stacks so far. He's managed to negotiate those last few corners all right and sets a 3:13.01 after the penalty is all said and done, so about almost 30 seconds slower than our current first place runner, Berto.
What an exciting camera. Here's a replay there of that moment we just saw from Resist. All over the edge. Did very well to stay on the ledge. Would have been clenching inside that Audi Quattro. There'd be 5 rings in, so we're in a significant amount of trouble with that moment as Resist comes towards the 2 kilometre split, or goes past the 2 kilometre split. I actually missed that. Did you catch what the time was?
About 13 seconds slower than Birdo. So this is Resist's. He's got very little experience on dirt and gravel. In the dirt video game. He's been sort of a rising star in our track series. Did quite well in the Caterhams. He's a hot tip for a podium in the very near future, but unfortunately, just not with too much experience in the dirt.
Roadhog, the newest challenger, and didn't quite catch what car that was. Opel Manta.
Yeah, he will be our second rear-wheel drive runner. Will Roadhog. I believe he actually had two different contracts for this particular stage. He did it in both four-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive. Of course, only one of those runs could be used, and it ended up being the rear-wheel drive car used. Every possible Group B car, four-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive represented in this stage, so that's a little bit exciting.
I feel like the drivers here are giving these cars a bit of respect because, let's be frank, these Group B cars are, to use an analogy, which I'm currently trying to formulate in my head because I didn't think how I would do that prior to... Oh, I'm going to interrupt myself there because Resist has finished his stage 3:03.35, ends up 20 seconds off Birdo, who's looking pretty solid right now. These Group B cars, very, very terrifying. Couldn't think of the rest of that analogy, so I'm going to abandon that. But my goodness gracious me, they're giving them some respect, and I would have honestly thought we'd see more stacks by this point.
Yeah, I was, in organising this event, I was honestly slightly concerned that we would just have an entire field of DNFs with people flying off cliffs and such, but so far only Foley being the only one to have a major issue, as Roadhog was about 8 seconds down on the halfway split, so not setting the world on fire in this Opel Manta, another rear-wheel drive car. These things are a bit of a handful, Stairs.
Bit of a handful, but they seem to be equal to the task, especially that hairpin. That was very, very, very good there from Roadhog as a Goofball Antics starts his stage. Honestly, a little bit surprised to see him in this particular live stage. We have had an increase in numbers, which is fantastic to see, but Goofball, with no disrespect to him, he seemed to be making up the numbers in some of our other in some of our other live stages, as he was really quite struggling with some of the other cars that we've done. Fantastic circuit racer, but his rallying is something that maybe has left something to be desired in previous races or live stages that we've done. Having said that, he did get better towards the back end of the previous live stage series that we did.
Yeah, for sure, and he has been, since the release of Dirt Rally 2, he's showed a bit of a renewed interest in rally and has been doing a bit more practice and stuff, so he's actually quietly confident for his results in this particular stage. As Roadhog, also probably quietly confident, comes towards the end and crosses the line in third, 18 seconds behind Birdo, so Birdo with an incredible show of pace for his first live stage. Obviously the expectations will be higher for him moving forwards. Goofball in the Lancia 037, a very difficult car to pick for someone who we would consider a rookie with the dirt, and he is indeed 14.4 seconds down on Birdo through the halfway split, but he's doing quite well just to keep the thing on the road, to be honest.
I can offer a little bit of defense for Goofball Antics, though. He loves a challenge. He always tends to pick something that makes his life harder. And I think that's just because he's in it for the love of it. He doesn't necessarily race for results. He races for fun. And if something's a bit harder to drive, but it's rewarding if you drive it well, then you know he's going to be in there like a rat up a drain pipe.
That's not a particular simile I'm familiar with. Securitron starting in our only MG Metro 6R4 car.
Yeah, you can only imagine that was because it was the only car that was left, I would expect.
It isn't a pretty looking thing, but we'll speak more on that when we get to the Scotsman. Goofball, I do have very, very vivid memories during our Group A track racing season of him in that Alfa Romeo, which must have been short 100 horsepower or something ridiculous like that, and just pulling out to try to make an overtake on a straight at Baku and just dropping back immediately while laughing maniacally the entire way. Just he's an odd cat, as my barber would describe him, is Goofball Antics. And
not an even dog.
No, definitely not an even dog, as he's taken a hairy line through that hard right-hander. That's almost a square right-hander, I think, but he's managed to get through it, and he's had no penalties so far, which would be, I imagine, would be quite definitely something he'd be quite proud of, considering his previous form. He's going to cross the line with 3:13. He's the slowest so far by 1/100th of a second over Foley.
That's got to be gutting for him. We didn't see a penalty for him, did we? So that was... I've got to pay my respects to... Well, no, that makes it sound like he's dead, isn't it? I've got to say that I appreciate what Goofball Antics did there, because he was just about getting it to the finish, and he'll still finish ahead of anyone who comes completely undone. Unfortunately for him, it feels like everyone else are giving these cars the respect they richly deserve.
Yeah, they were a very controversial series was the Group B of Rally. There was a lot of, I think, a lot of injuries and a lot of deaths as a result, which isn't something we ever want to see, of course. Securitron here in something that probably would like to be dead, the Metro MG, which is possibly the boxiest thing I've ever seen in my life. It's not an attractive thing. Madbird starting in...
Is there IKEA flat pack furniture inside that car?
It does look like it has been designed specifically to fit boxes within it. Madbird has started in the Ford RS200. Securitron quite close there to the cliff face, but managing to keep it all in a line. He's managing to make this car look quite graceful for such an ugly duckling.
But the ugly duckling grew up to be a beautiful swan. So let's see what Securitron can manage. As this Group B series grows, the car, of course, won't get any better looking, but the times may well improve. And we certainly saw a fantastic rivalry between Securitron and the North Korean of Yorgs, who's actually next in the running order. So I very much look forward to that battle and how that progresses into this Group B. Oh, he's taken out... Oh, what a way to finish! He's taken out signs, he's taken out all sorts of things. It's a 301.91, which slots him up into 4th place. There's a bit of a gaggle of cars there. Road Dogg, Securitron and Resist, all separated by just a couple of tenths of, or a couple of seconds. That's remarkable.
That's quite close, yeah. We had a very close finish with our last Monaco stage, which we were all rather excited about. Madbird crossing the sector split in 2nd, I think that was, or possibly 3rd. Didn't catch it quite in time. Madbird's done quite a bit of practice for this, so he's going to be looking for a good result in the RS200. Good little car, 4-wheel drive, but definitely down on power a little bit compared to the others. But he just likes this little zippy thing.
Well, looking good so far. That's certainly not time that is unable to be recovered. And we know Birdo was a very strong starter. He made his way into the ARW live stages, ARW live stages late in the piece in the previous series that we did, and made up for lost time quite well and did a decent job, as we see Yorgs starting.
I'm absolutely fine.
Co-Commodore is having a moment, which I could have quite easily ignored and sort of dug him out, but I didn't. I drew attention to it, and I've only done that because there isn't really much happening on screen at the moment. But Yorgs is 25 seconds into his stage, and looking good so far.
Yeah, definitely Madbird taking that right-hander that leads onto this last sort of, I don't want to say straight, but it is almost straight away to the finish. You got a bunch of little bends, but nothing too crazy, and you basically just got to floor it and go the entire way, and Madbird has done that. 2:47.4, which slots him in 2nd, 4.2 seconds down on Birdo, so he will be disappointed with that. Yorgs here, the North Korean, in his North Korea liveried Lancia Delta S4.
What's going on with the post notes?
Yeah, it looks as if there's some messages on this car. We have had some discussions in the past about Yorgs' particular living arrangements and his home country of North Korea. Possibly slightly unhappy with it. It looks like he's gone 2nd fastest in the 2nd sector split, so very well done there. I think it says send help there on the side of the car, and I'm not entirely sure what's going on, Stairs.
I can only offer what little wisdom I have about the situation in North Korea, and as far as I understand it, most of them don't know they're oppressed, but I think this particular North Korean knows very much that he's oppressed. So surprising actually that he's still running under the North Korean flag. I can only imagine that's because he's got no other choice, but goodness gracious me, it seems like he wants out.
It really does. Yeah, so send help there on the left
side of his car.
On the left-hand side of his car. Clearly is a man in need of some assistance, so hopefully he does get that. Hobbo 88 there, Brenton Hobson starting in his Audi Quattro.
This is a man that I'm looking very much forward to seeing how he does in rally. He's those of you who will have been following his channel. I mean, just gracious me, look at the onboard. Oh, that's Yorgs. Beg your pardon. Yorgs is looking pretty good. I would take that if I was Yorgs as a compliment that I thought that was Hobbo we were on board with for a moment. But touching back on Hobbo 88, he is a bit of a dirt specialist. His iRacing exploits, we've seen him quite competitive in a number of series, but dirt is his first love as Yorgs comes across the line in second place, only 0.8 off Berto there. That was an impressive effort there from Yorgs, a huge improvement over the previous live stage series from him, and much further ahead than Securitron in their battles. So that's fantastic to see as we go back on board with Hobbo.
Hobbo goes. What does he go? He goes fastest in the sector split by about half a second over Berto. So that dirt experience he has, not so much in rally, but in he does a lot of speedway style dirt racing, which obviously is a little bit different. You only got one corner you need to make, and it's basically constant. But regardless, he has a lot of experience on loose surface, so we're expecting good things from him. Third to last in our running order, which shows the respect that he's been given by the organisers. Mono and Ziras, the only people still yet to go, who are definitely two of our faster ones in the series. As you say, Yorg's second fastest, which Securitron there'll be tears in that Metro MG Metro 6R4 driver's eyes, as Mono begins his stage in a bright orange Lancia Delta S4, definitely the most popular car so far on the stage.
Yes, I wonder if everyone's just tried a bunch of the cars and found that the Lancia's the easiest to drive with the most power, perhaps. That is merely my speculation as we see a Hobbo just dancing around through these corners. Just absolute poetry in motion there from Brenton Hobson. He'd probably tell you that it was a bit of a scruffy run or something like that. We call him Humble Hobbo. Well, I mean, we call him that. I've literally just coined that out of the off the top of my head as he comes up to the line and goes top by 2.3 seconds. Brenton Hobson, gracious me, straight to the top and looking like a genuine contender for the win in his very first ARW live stage.
Yeah, Mono definitely not looking too shabby either so far from what we've seen the last 2 seconds of his run. He's very smooth, very quick. He's usually there or thereabouts, never has had the pace to take it to the main man, who we of course all know as Ziras, as Nether did in the previous stage. I think the only man to have beaten Ziras out and out. Mono ends up going fourth fastest by the looks of about 2.3 seconds down on Hobbo. So that is not going to be good news for him behind Yorgs and Birdo. But still, there's all the time to make up for the second half of the stage, Stairs.
That is exactly right, and 2.3 seconds is not unrecoverable if he has a fairly strong end to the stage. He is, of course, the Martina Navratilova of having a strong end to the stage.
You took the words right out of my mouth, Stairs.
Must have been while...
is what I was thinking. Yes, indeed. So Mono here looking quite strong for a top finish. Zero starting in he's the only one in a Peugeot, an Ujo 206, I believe it is. He's the only one who's opted for that particular car. I think he thinks he's being brave. He was gonna pick a rear-wheel drive to sort of penalise himself. But when he saw that we had the talent of Hobbo and Foley and such joining in, he thought, I probably don't need to hobble myself, to make a vague simile on Hobbo's name. Mono looking very strong there through that hard right-hander. He's managing to do quite well. He's coming up here towards the end of the stage. It's going to be interesting to see where he slots in. He's usually up there or thereabouts. He's not going to bed by the looks of it. He comes in 4th, just ahead of Madbird, and that is incredibly close. Both of them 6.5 seconds, so that must go down to the 1,000th stairs.
Or even the 100th, but that was certainly a very, very close finish. The next fraction of the second we didn't quite see, as we go back on board with Ziras to see the sort of stage that he's having. Clinical as always from Ziras. He's been quite dominant. It's only been Nether who's taken a live stage off him, if I can, from memory, maybe possibly Mono, but completely undefeated in terms of the rally events that we've had in a cumulative sense.
Yeah, for sure. 9/10 up on Hobbo through the sector split, so showing his usual speedy self, although Hobbo wasn't any wasn't any slouch to be sure. But Ziras just has this way of just holding pace through the corners. He manages to hold on to some momentum that other people just can't. They lose it. He just manages to be fast without ever looking ridiculously fast. It's quite something to watch, Stairs.
It is quite something to watch. You are right in saying such things. And of course, being the favourite, this is the only man left on the track, so it's going to be a great debut for Hobbo. He's on the podium no matter what happens here, because where he is now at the top, he can only go down to second, but Ziras, does he have anything? That is a big moment onto his roof! Oh, Ziras, the championship driver from the previous live stage, has gone onto his roof, reset. Did he get a penalty for that?
Doesn't look like he did. He managed to land it cleanly. It would have obviously cost him some time, but what Oh!
That's cost him the win. That's cost him the win. 0.066 hundredths of a second. Ziras is off. Beg your pardon for the loudness. In the previous, we weren't expecting that. That's why we both in unison yelled so loudly. But Brenton Hobson, he is the debutant winner. Unbelievable.
It's incredibly close. 0.06 of a second down. That is all that Ziras is behind him. So that accident definitely cost him more time than that. He had a good second or two up his sleeve, and it's all just gone. Birdo also on his debut, coming in 3rd. Yorgs 4th, best of the rest.
Birdo, not quite his debut. His debut in terms of doing the entire live stage event, just to say. Yorgs, you were about to mention that. Yorgs, fantastic result from him. Only 4 seconds, less than 4 seconds off the lead. Mono Man probably be a bit disappointed that he leads the best of the rest with the 2 Scandinavians behind him. Roadhog, Securitron, Resist, Bretton Foley with that costly error down there in 11th, and Goofball Antics in 12th place.
And just for those of you playing at home, that fraction there that cost Madbird 5th place was 0.07 of a second there on Mono, so that close to being up in 5th place, Stairs.
Righty, marvellous. Well, that is the results from this particular live stage are the cumulative results, because that's the only one we've had. So we look very much forward to the next one in whenever that is.
It'll be quite soon, hopefully, and it will be coming to you from Ampellonis Ormi, which will be stage 2. These Greeks, they don't know how to name things, do they, Stairs?
Well, no. They don't. But those of you, just to touch on a note that's maybe a little bit closer to our hearts, just to bring things down a little bit and depress you all, you may have noticed the absence of Rob at the top of our broadcast. Unfortunately, during the week, he unfortunately lost his battle with severe cocaine addiction, alcoholism, and cancer, which are 3 things that we don't wish upon anyone. So we wish our very best to his stepson and 3 ex-wives. I know that they still all lived in a very, very close, a house where they all really, really did appreciate each other's company. So it's his contributions to our live stages were much appreciated, but unfortunately they will be no longer. So valet Robert.
So it's basically about who has 2 balls between their legs. I think it's going to be an absolute ripper.
I haven't had a clean pair of undies since I landed in Wales. It's a cold place to live in, but it's not very cold today because it's summertime. Well, I got off the plane in Berlin, and it was raining there, and it's raining here. Oh yeah, it's dry and nasty, my friend. I'm excited for today. So I'm still on the way in, on the way to the start of the stage. It took a long time to get into my pants this morning.
Well, nefarious, that's a big word.
Oh, that's a bit mean.
Playing us out is a collection of images of Robert that you may have seen during our live stages, accompanied to some sentimental music, which I'm sure is royalty-free, but also very, very emotional. Join us for the next live stage, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Thanks very much, Saya.
I'll be sure that my paycheck is in the mail.
And, we'll throw back to you in the commentary box. Mad Bird and Stairs.
Just my pleasure.